Hi, it's First Lady Redonda, and I am in the kitchen today. And today I want to show you how to cook pot roast with vegetables. And so what I have here is a chuck roast, and chuck roast is my favorite cut of beef when I get ready to do a pot roast. And I'm cooking this for Sunday dinner because I know that a lot of you like to have a big Sunday dinner. Pot roast is a great dish and it can feed quite a few people if you have a large family like me. I'm going to do 2 of these chuck roasts, and I'm just going to show you very quickly how I rinse off. I'm just going to open it, and I'm going to just show you. It's a really pretty cut of meat. You can see the marbling. That's going to make for some really good gravy. And I learned a long time ago that good meat will make its own gravy. And so that's what we're going to do today. Pot roast with vegetables, and we're going to do gravy. So I'm just going to take it over to the sink, and I'm just going to I'm going to lay it on my meat board for meat. So I just use cold water, and I just rinse it just to make sure there's not any residue or anything lingering on the meat. I like for the meat to be really clean. And this is about, I guess, maybe 2 to 3 pound chuck roast. Okay, and so as you can see, I've got it on this. Now I'm going to take it over here, and I'm going to just prepare the roast. What I like to do is just to season it. Once again, I do not use a lot of salt when I cook. I use Mrs. Dash. I use salt-free seasonings if I can, because the meat itself is going to have a lot of flavor with the vegetables, the onion and the carrot and the green bell pepper. So I'm just going to add just a little bit of onion powder here, a little bit of garlic powder. As you can see, I'm just kind of lightly seasoning it. And this is the Mrs. Dash. This is the original blend, and I love using the original blend because it has all the spices that I like. They have different flavors of Mrs. Dash, and so you just choose what you want as far as the type of flavor you want for Mrs. Dash, depending on what you're cooking. So since I'm cooking a roast, I'm going to use the original. So I'm just flipping the meat over, as you can see. And so while this meat is being seasoned with the onion powder and the garlic powder and the Mrs. Dash, you notice how I'm doing both sides. And so I'm going to come over here and just show you a little bit about the pots that I like to use. This is my favorite pot that I like to use for making pot roast, because you see how deep it is. And so I'm going to add it to the stove, and I'm going to turn it on high. And the reason I'm going to turn it on high is because I really want to get a good sear on the meat before I cook it in the oven. So I'm going to sear the meat pretty good, get a good browning on both sides, and then I'm going to put it in a 400-degree oven for about a couple of hours. And so this is also a pot that you could use. This is a cast iron. As you can see how heavy it is. If I was just doing one roast, I would use this because it's also big and it's deep, and you can really get a good gravy up in there. The meat can cook in its own juices, but that's if you're going to do one pot roast. But since I'm going to do 2, I need a bigger pan that's a lot heavier. So I'm also going to do a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in here. I don't know, I would say that's a couple of teaspoons, maybe a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, and I just kind of wiggle it around in there just so that when I get ready to put this meat into this pan, I want it to be hot. I want that olive oil to sizzle, and it's going to give a good caramelization on that meat. So I'm just going to throw these away. I want my skillet to get good and hot, so I'm going to let that kind of get hot. I'm going to wash my hands while I'm done, while I'm doing that, while I'm waiting on that. You always want to wash your hands, because when you're dealing with raw meat, you don't want to cross-contaminate. So if you're dealing with raw meat and then you're touching the vegetables and things like that, you don't want to get anybody sick. And since I am cooking this for Sunday dinner, I am having some guests over for dinner. You know, after church, you have your family and your friends over for dinner. You want to make a good impression. So you definitely don't want to make anybody sick from your cooking. So that's why I'm washing my hands. Really good with that. So now, just want to talk a little bit about these vegetables while this meat is resting. I have the onion here that I'm going to slice. Let's move that out of the way. I have the onion here that I'm going to slice, and I'm just going to slice it, just thick slices. It's going to be kind of chunky, as you can see. I don't want it to be chopped or anything, because I want you to be able to see the large vegetables in cooking with the roast. And not only that, you don't want it to completely disintegrate, because this roast is going to cook for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And so you want to be able to see that you put those vegetables in there with the pot roast. The other thing is that sometimes people like to use potatoes. So they would do like a roast with carrots and potatoes. And that's good. I typically don't do that, just because I know that when I do potatoes cook very quickly, and potatoes will completely dissolve if they're in there for about an hour or an hour and a half, unless they're really big chunks of potato. And so I'm just kind of rough chopping these baby carrots, and I kind of rough chop the onion and the green bell pepper, and all the while I'm just waiting on this pot over here, this pan over here, to get really hot, so that when I add this meat, we're going to have that sizzle. Uh-oh, one got away. Okay, so as you can see, the vegetables are chopped, and you can see that the pot is ready, good and ready for a sizzle. So I'm going to turn it down now. Get it too smoky, you can turn your exhaust on. And so I may let that cool off for a second. Let that cool off for a second, and then I'll come back and show you how it looks when you put it in the pan. Okay, I think my pan may be hot enough. So we're going to take this meat to the pot. And as you can see, we've liberally seasoned it on both sides, so that's the sound you want to hear. I'm turning the fire up. I'm going to put this other large pot roast. You can hear that sizzle. More pieces of meat. Okay. And I'm going to get it to sear really good on both sides. So I'm going to let it sear for a couple of minutes on this side, and then I'm going to turn it over to the other side. Okay, now as you can see how it's browning. I'm just going to flip it over to the other side. Do not get nervous, and do not think that you're burning it, because you're not. You're just actually searing it. You're actually just searing it on both sides. And because it's such a large cut of meat, it's going to need to finish off cooking in the oven. But we're just trying to get a good sear, a good to seal in the moisture, to seal in all those good juices and seasonings. It looks great. So the next thing that I do is once I do flip it over, I like to add about a cup of water to start with. And so remember I said that good meat makes its own gravy. So when I add that water, see how that it's already starting to pick up those juicy bits that's on the bottom, and it's going to make a delicious gravy. And so when I do that, as you can see, it's starting to already boil up. I'm going to keep it like that for a little while. Let's add the vegetables. Okay, remember this is 1 whole onion, 1 whole green bell pepper, and it's pretty much just sliced. Rough chop on these baby carrots. And I just really just kind of spread them across the top. I'm going to add 1 more cup of water. That gravy is already brown, as you can see. And so if I kind of like to kind of almost cover it, not cover it completely to where it's boiling, but just almost cover it with the water, and then I'm going to put a lid on it, and it's going to go into the oven. I think it may need just a little bit more water. And remember, all those seasonings from the Mrs. Dash and the garlic powder and the onion powder are already in there. And so this is going to cook in the oven, covered, for about 2 hours. So I'm just going to transfer it to the oven with my pot holders here. And sometimes you may have to bring your oven rack down just so it can sit in there comfortably. All right, in about 2 hours, we're going to have pot roast with those vegetables and that good, rich gravy that's going to be on that meat. And you'll have a wonderful start to your great Sunday dinner. Our pot roast is ready, and we're just going to pull it out of the oven. I want to let you see kind of what the finished product looks like. I will say that ovens vary, and if you see that it's cooking too fast, or if you see that it's not cooking fast enough, you can adjust your temperature. You can go down to 350 if you have to, or you can leave it at 400 just for a little while longer. But as you can see, the roast is done. You see all that delicious gravy, and you can still see those big chunks of vegetables. Remember, I used the onion and the carrots and the green bell pepper. So I'm just going to cut just a little bit of this meat. Really, you don't have to really cut it. You see how it just kind of tears away? I'm just going to taste a little of it. See how it just tears away? That's good pot roast there. Okay, and if you even wanted to, you could get some of that gravy and some of those vegetables. Just kind of add to it, but this is the pot roast, and it smells so good. You can smell the onions and the peppers. I'm just going to give it a quick taste. You can see how juicy and tender it is. It's really good pot roast. So I hope you try the recipe, And let me know what you think when you try this pot roast. And I hope you can enjoy it with your family on Sunday for a great Sunday dinner. Hope you guys keep the comments coming. Let me know what else you might want me to try to cook for you guys. And just continue to watch and continue to put in those subscriptions. I listen and I'm ready to hear what you guys have to say. So continue to do that for me. And have a great day. Be blessed.